Today, I'm going to be trying to pull each and every one of you over to my idea of changing the way that the Appleton County Athletic Program looks at their players on game day. I'm sure that if you are like me, your family spends their Friday night at the football stadium. In most small towns, sporting event seems to be where everyone goes when there's just nothing else to do. I've been to many games where the players would get thrown out of the game because of their unnecessary roughness out on the field and their behavior towards the refs and the other players. Being that my husband and my brother played high school sports, I'm aware that it's crazy that anybody would even think that it was okay to use drugs on the field, but they do it, and it's horrible. Well, my idea is getting everyone on board to say that they need to have mandatory drug tests in order to be able to play on certain game days. Whether the drug be something minor like a cigarette or illegal like marijuana, athletes should not be able to step on the field under the influence of anything. When children are at these games, I know that several star athletes have little kids that look up to them that want to be just like them. If I had a kid, I would not want my kid looking up to anybody like that, much less around it. That's awful. In my opinion, they should be able to have drug tests. That way, if there is any drug in their system, the athlete would have to sit out of a game or two. If the drug they are using is illegal, then further action should be handled. Along with not wanting your children to see them act that way, we should be concerned about the actual player. Drugs are obviously not good for anybody, much less somebody that's on the field coming in contact with other players. Their reaction time might not be as quick as normal, which could lead to serious injuries. Let's just say that the player is using steroids before the game. That player has a huge advantage over the other player, which obviously isn't fair. As reported by Sports Illustrated, half of all recently surveyed Olympic athletes said that they would take drugs if it meant that they would win. So if Olympic athletes do it, then you know that a high school athlete would, because all they think about when they're on the field is winning. The guy may think it is cool to have that high during the game, but the game should not be fun, or should be fun without even having to take drugs. As stated by Gary Becker, performance enhancers like steroids have a negative effect on long-term health. So not only is it affecting their health today, or whenever they're using it on game days, it's affecting them later on in life as well. In my opinion, if an athlete really wants to play on a game night, then drugs wouldn't even be a problem because they wouldn't want anything to do with it. Another thing that states why we should make it mandatory to drug test these students is that colleges are constantly scouting boys that they want to play for them. A college is not even going to look a student's way if they've been caught using drugs during a game. Drugs ruin a little bit of everything, whether they realize it or not. Using drugs one time while being on the field could ruin the boys' chances of playing college ball or maybe even professional ball in the future. I had the chance to talk with a former coach of Appleton County that coached for 28 years and has come in contact with several different things. He stated that when he was employed with Appleton County, that he had a student come up to him and make him aware that one of the starting running backs were smoking right before the game when he came to school. He firmly told him that he was not allowed to participate in that night's game and informed them that he was not even allowed to be at the stadium. So even 20 years ago when he was coaching, this was a problem, so we need to be doing something about it. One of my questions was, throughout your career, have you noticed a difference in your athletes while using drugs? His answer was, yes, I have watched some of my star athletes not succeed because they were more worried about doing drugs than doing good on the field. My next question was, do you agree with making drug tests mandatory? If so, explain. His answer was, I think it is a wonderful idea. No one truly realizes how much harm that student is in while trying to play football on drugs, or any sport at that matter. I also asked him how would you go about performing these tests if they were to become mandatory. He said that if it were me, I would have all the boys or all the equipment set up where the boys could be tested right before they go on the field for pregame. If any test positive, the student will be asked to leave and will be punished further later. Now I know I can't stop it alone, but with your help and by signing a petition to say that it should be mandatory, I know that we can change it. I know that even that these players are not in their right mind on the field, and they shouldn't be out there to begin with if they're using drugs. Let's dial down the chaos at high school football games or any sport and games and get the players that use drugs off of the field. My last thing is, after this, what is your opinion on it? I'm ready to take on this issue. Are you?